Hi, welcome to this demonstration of Banksia Care. My name is Natalie Hodge. I am the Operations Manager at Eduworks Resources. And today I'm just going to give you a little bit of a walkthrough of our simulated organisation, Banksia Care. So this simulated organisation has been developed to support the delivery of the individual support, ageing support and disability support qualifications, which were released towards the end of last year. So this simulated organisation has an aged care division, a disabilities division, and then also an independent living or home and community care division of this organisation. So when you make a purchase of any of those qualifications, you will receive information on how to access a login for this website. So to do that, you'll come to banksia.eduworks.com.au/apply, and you'll fill in the form that is available here. So you just need to provide us a few details here just to ensure that you're contacting us from the authorised organisation. So RTO name, invoice/order number, contact name, and then you'll choose the email address that you want the credentials associated with. I do suggest that you might choose, say, like a publicly available inbox for this email address. You may not want it directly linked to one particular person in case that person happens to move on from the organisation and then you have to change the login credentials. Or it just also means that if anything needs to happen, say a password reset, anybody who has access to the public inbox will be able to follow those details to change the password, although hopefully you don't have to do that very often or at all. And then beneath here, you've just got your username. So this can be whatever username you choose to have. So these logins are designed to be shared logins by your students. And with your purchase, you can have up to 10 logins if you purchase a full qualification from us or over 5 units from us. We really do these just in case an organisation wants to, say, have one login for their students to share, one login for their staff to share. Maybe you've got different campuses and therefore different contact people that you would like associated with the login, maybe different course coordinators, things like that. Most of our clients do choose to have just the one login. However, some of our clients do choose to kind of have one login for staff, one login for students, or different logins for different campuses. So we just give you up to 10 just to allow you that little bit of flexibility with the logins to divide up however you like. Once you've filled in this form, we'll get a notification on our end and your application will be approved. Obviously, we just do a few little checks on our end to make sure that you have made a purchase from us, and then your application will be approved. You'll get an email automatically sent to you that says that you've submitted your application and it's pending approval. And then as soon as your application has been approved, you'll get an email with a link to create your password for this login. So you'll create the password on your end. Just double check your junk if it's not coming through to your inbox. Obviously, different security settings for different email service providers and things like that. So if it hasn't hit your inbox, just go into your junk and then maybe just mark it as not junk, so that if the website sends you any emails in the future, which we don't send anything from this website, but say a password reset or something, then you can you'll make sure you see those emails in your inbox. Cool. So on the front end of the website, you'll see information about the organisation, so things like services that the simulated organisation provides, a bit of a history of the of Banksia Care here as well. And then under different tabs, you'll find lots of different information. So things like staff that work at the simulated organisation, and a little bit about each of the different divisions or services that Banksia Care offers. And just a range of information like that is available. for your staff and students to look at, and obviously help add to that real world feeling of this simulated organisation. So this simulated organisation will be interwoven throughout the assessments and the learning materials that you purchase from us. So it will form the basis of things like case studies, scenarios for written questions that students might have to respond to. It will also form the basis of case studies in their learning materials, and then in any role plays as well. So in a role play, they might be asked to play the role of one of the carers at Banksia Care to assist with a client need. And then that obviously just helps add to that simulation and real world feeling. So it'll form the basis. I'll just show you what that looks like in our assessment kit. I've just got an assessment kit pulled up here. So this one that I have here is CHC CCS 043, so support positive mealtime experiences. And then we'll see as we scroll through here. So first of all, we can see at the top here that the assessments, that the documents that the students will need to have access to, or the trainers will need to have access to, are here. So we've got the Banksia Care supporting documents. So there's a record here, some policies and procedures here as well that they'll need to have access to. So these are all available on the Banksia Care website for available to access or download. So we can see here that we've got a number of role plays, and then as we scroll through the assessment, you'll see here that so here's a case study, and we've got this younger client at Banksia Care living with aged care clients, and then there's an individualised care plan available as a supporting document, and then the students will answer the questions based on that supporting document. So you can see that we kind of interweave this simulated organisation throughout the assessments. I'll just scroll down to a role play. So you can see here that for this particular role play, students will be asked to access these policies and procedures at the top, and then they'll read the scenario here, and then they'll have to review the Banksia Care documents, and then support them through their mealtime experience. So you can see that this is to kind of form the basis of their role play here with this particular assessment. So you can kind of see how this is interwoven throughout. So your students will really become very familiar with this simulated organisation as they make their way through their course. They'll become very familiar with logging into the website, accessing certain policies and procedures, and there's probably certain policies and procedures that are used throughout many of the units, such as like workplace health and safety. That's going to be a very common one that they're always going to have to refer to for role plays and case studies. So they'll become familiar with that particular policy and procedure, just like you would when you're in a workplace. You'd become to know the particular policies and procedures of that organisation very thoroughly. So the idea here as well is that we have the one simulated organisation that follows students throughout their course. And we're not chopping and changing between different organisations as your students progress through their studies. This really allows them to get to know the Banksia Care policies and procedures. And the other thing that we hope to do with our simulated organisations as well is provide some really good examples of what a good policy and procedure looks like in the industry, and then we also include some things like sample documents. So we'll provide some filled in documents and templates that students can access and download to see, well, what does a good template, what does this template look like when it's filled in really well? And so it just kind of adds to the students' learning and available as a good good example. And so then when they're in the workplace, they're really familiar with what these policies should look like, what information that they should include, and also kind of what are the things that we're expecting these policies to say. So you can see here it's very interwoven into this particular assessment because we've chosen to simulate this assessment because the assessment conditions will allow us to do this particular unit in a completely simulated environment. Then when we get into our learner guide, I'll just show you that here. So this is what our learner guides look like. So the students will kind of get a bit of information about the simulated organisation here. And then you'll see Banksia Care interwoven into things like activities and case studies as well. So this is really helping us to put into practice our Eduworks learning framework. So our Eduworks learning framework is to cover in our learner guides the what, the why, the apply, and then the practice. So the apply part of that is where our simulated organisations really come into play. So we want to be able to take all the information that the students are learning within the learner guides and apply that to a real world environment. We're obviously in the business of vocational education, which means that everything should be, we're not dealing with theory, we're dealing with what do you need to know when you get into the workplace. And so the apply part of our Eduworks learning framework is really, really important. And we do that with case studies throughout the learning material that we then link back to the simulated organisation. So you can see here we've got a case study about Irina. She's 86. And you can see here that Irina is new to Banksia Care. Then as we kind of continue on, we can then see that we've got an activity here, and the activity is to read the case study available on page 23. And based on the information provided in the case study, what information / adjustments would you need to include about meal times in Irina's care plan? So there's a Banksia Care individualized care plan template and record keeping policy and procedure. And so in this instance, the students are practicing kind of accessing into templates and making some adjustments where needed for a client based on their preferences for meal times. So you can see that is then where we're really introducing the practice part of our Eduworks learning framework, is with these learning activities, and then linking that back to simulated organisations, to our simulated organisation in some instances. Cool, so that's how we kind of integrate in our simulated organisation into our learning and assessment materials. And we'll just jump back into the website now. So as you can see from the assessment that we saw, there will be some policies and procedures that the students will have to access. So they'll always be listed in the resources and equipment required section of the assessment kit. So we can see here for this particular policy, role play, that they need to access the workplace health and safety policy and procedure. So we jump back into the website over here. What a student would do, or one of your staff members will do when they're assessing this particular assessment, is that they'll jump into the website and log in over in the staff portal log in with the details that you've set up for that login for the website. And then all of the policies, procedures, templates, and sample documents will be available in this staff portal section over here. So we break the policies and procedures, templates, forms, etc. up into quality areas. So you can see our quality areas that we have available here. And this just helps, obviously, navigation on the back end of the website. We'll just jump back into our workplace health and safety policy and procedure. We can see that is SE. So then as I come back over here, I'm going to jump to the service environment. So SE, service environment. If I click on that, it's going to take me straight to the service environment section of the website. Jump back in over here. We need the SE for workplace health and safety policy and procedure. So we can see that policy and procedure just coming up nice and quickly here. If I click into that, I'll then be able to read the policy and procedure on the website. So just a little note, the policies and procedures aren't downloadable from the back end of the website. They're designed to be read on the website. We do these just so that there's no changes that kind of happen to the policy and procedure, and it's just kind of there available when you log in online. And then any templates or sample documents, they'll be available to download. You can see here with just this download button over here. So I think this one's all policies and procedures, but the students should become familiar with the codes on the policies and procedures, templates and things like that. Just we'll indicate if it's a template by using the code T in the name. So for instance, the service environment template 4 is the service review and improvement template. And then we've got a sample document here, which will always have the code SD1. So the sample documents will be coded SD1, templates with a T, and then the policies and procedures will just have the quality area followed by the number of the policy and procedure. So we hopefully that will make it really super easy for your students and staff to find the relevant policy and procedure that they need on the back end of this website. However, the other option to navigate to the relevant policy and procedure is to just come up to the search bar at the top of the website, and then you should just be able to either search for the code or the title. So if I just jump in over here and just type in SE4 and hit search, it will then pull up right at the top here the workplace health and safety policy and procedure, and I'll be able to click into that to download that. Oh, sorry, not download, but read the policy and procedure on the screen. You can do that for any document on the back end here, just to really make it super easy to find. So I might want to say I've been asked to use the email template. I might just come up the top here and just go SE. Sorry, I'll just get that email template again. SET3. If I hit the search, that email template is going to come up. When I click into that, it's going to give me the option to download that document to my computer and then use the email template to complete my assessment. So that is the back end of the website. You can see we've got quite a lot of policies and procedures, templates, so, sample documents, etc. available. So anything where the students are required to access a particular policy and procedure or template as part of their assessment will be available here on the website for them to access or download if it's a Word document that they need to complete. That is the end of my little tour of our simulated organisation. Of course, if you have any questions about how these simulated organisations work within our resources, please reach out to your representative. They'll be more than happy to answer any further questions that you have. We have available as well, like summary of policies and procedures that are included as well if you would like to access that. Thanks, and hope you have a great day.